All right, guys, we're looking at the new Dado blade set from Infinity. It's a Dadonator XL. So we're going to look at all the novel features of this blade, then we'll get right into the meat and potatoes with some testing on the table saw. So if you're familiar with Infinity blades, you may already recognize the name Dadonator. There is currently an Infinity Dadonator on the market. They sell an 8-inch Dadonator and a 6-inch Dadonator Junior. I've had the 8-inch version in my shop for years, and it was actually one of the better Dado blades I've come across. It performed really well, so when I heard there was a Dadonator XL, I wondered what was it about and what are the features or the differences between the two sets. And that's what I hope to get into today. They do sell, by the way, the 8-inch Dadonator and the 6-inch Dadonator Junior still. Those are continuing to be offered, but the difference is the Dadonator XL, for one, was designed for saw stop compliance. So the outer blades on this set have 24 carbide teeth, and the tooth geometry is a 30-degree bevel angle and a negative hook angle. Actually, all of the blades in this set have a nice soft negative hook angle, and that's really to decrease exit chip out and almost eliminate splintering when you're doing cross-grain cuts in hardwood. But beyond the tooth count, you'll also notice that there's no anti-kickback projections behind the teeth, and that's specifically to be saw stop compliant. In addition to that, there's a couple of great features that they added along the way. The chippers on these are something else. Infinity calls them wagon wheel chippers, and I guess I can see why. They've got these cutouts on the blade body, and that's just to reduce weight. You definitely want to have a lighter weight set when you're going for saw stop compatibility, and this certainly accomplishes that with these simple cutouts on the chippers. One interesting thing you get is this pair of wide chippers. So these are both 1/4-inch chippers, and you can easily stack those together along with the two outer blades, and bingo, right then and there you have a 3/4-inch wide stack. That's something that you can't do with any other set on the market. I call it a 4-blade setup, and it's just the quickest there is. I think beyond that, you also stand to get really smooth bottom cuts because you've only got 4 blades. Why are there fewer ridges in a 4-blade set? Well, because there's fewer blades. It's pretty straightforward on that. Now, just because you get that pair of XL chippers doesn't mean you'll give up any of the convenience that you might expect from a normal Dado set. Here you get the 1/8 standard chipper, a 3/32 plywood chipper, and then a very thin 1/16 inch chipper that you might use in combination with the plastic shim stock to set up any width of groove or dado that you might need. I really want to reiterate that all of the teeth on this set have a negative hook angle. Both the outer blades and all of the chippers have that negative hook angle, and that's not true on all Dado sets, so be sure to pull up that stat when you're shopping and comparing Dado sets. Now, number of teeth per chipper seems to be a big deciding factor as to the performance you can expect from your Dado set. I usually recommend getting a set with at least 4 teeth per chipper. Here we see 6 teeth per chipper. It just seems to be a finer cut you get with those extra teeth. The Dado set comes with a set of plastic shims, which to me are really preferable over the steel shims. If you've ever used a set of plain steel shims, you know that they can drop down in the arbor threads and kind of get mangled up the first time that you use them. After that, they're really not usable and you have to replace them frequently. So I do like this set of plastic shims a little bit better. Another good option is magnetic shims. They can be a little bit fragile, so all in all, I guess I'm glad to see that there's plastic shims included with the Dadonator XL. So what can you expect from performance with this new set? What we're seeing is really flat bottom cuts, and I think a lot of that is owing to the fact that you have those 2 extra wide chippers. If you think about an 1/8 inch blade trying to register perfectly on the threads of the arbor on your table saw, it does seem like a difficult task. But when you stack in these wide 1/4 inch chippers, all of a sudden they have a lot more bearing area to just sit perfectly in the right position so they can do their job, which is making flat bottom cuts when you're doing grooves and dados, or even the more challenging cuts like hardwood joinery. looks like super nice entry and exit cuts on the grooves in plywood. No problem there. And the bottom of the cut is just absolutely dead flat and smooth. Bat ears, pretty much non-existent. I don't really see any depressions in there at all. And we'll test that a little further as we go wider than a full 3/4 inch pass. So we made some cross grain cuts in cabinet grade plywood, and not only do we have really good cuts along the surface veneer with no lifting up of the veneer, we've got a nice flat bottom cut. But what surprised me most of all, let's see, we had it this way. So this would be our exit side, and there was just absolutely no exit chip out, even with the cross grain cut. And when I looked at this, the actual sacrificial fence that I'm using was so torn up, there's no backer or support on the right side of the cut, and yet that's the kind of cut quality we get, just like we had a fresh backer board on our table saw. Well, have a look at the results yourself. Across the cheek of the tenons, this is just as straight, flat, and smooth as you could possibly get. You can't see or feel any ridges. Just a nice, smooth cheek cut. Look at the other side in a low angle raking light. There's just no imperfections to notice whatsoever. The corners of the tenon are actually crisp and sharp. If you were making a through tenon, for instance, this would have a nice visible result. You don't have any chipping. That's very typical at the corner of the tenons. So that looks really good in a very chip out prone wood, white oak here. Let's try some more cross grain cuts in a piece of walnut. All right, let's see how we did in the walnut. I've got really harsh light coming across this, and again we're seeing the same thing. Cheeks are just absolutely flat and smooth. Corners are crisp. Imagine this was the front leg of a Morris chair and you were going to do a through tenon with that. You'd have a really easy time making a nice joint with that dado blade. And then maybe the toughest judge of a dado blade, we're going to make side-by-side passes and evaluate the cut quality where the two swaths meet. Let's try that. All right, let's look at cut quality of that side-by-side pass. Nice and flat and smooth on both sides. They're even left to right. This was the exit side. Now I did have a new sacrificial fence installed on my miter gauge. That paid off, it looks like, because there's a nice crisp corner on that side. Very smooth, consistent results. All right, guys, there's my look at the new Datonator XL from Infinity. If you have any specific questions on this product, just drop me a line in the comment section. I will plan to bring you a long-term update once I get a little more mileage on this blade. Hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.